Right, hey folks, I wanted to go on here and to give you some information about how to find your calories for a cut. So, how do you work out your calories for a cut? Now, this question causes a lot of confusion on the internet. I see people on Reddit and forums and stuff just almost being paralyzed to even start the diet because they're trying to get that magical number, which is going to allow them to start the diet. So, you've got all things online like online calculators, which use activity factors. Now, the online calculator, there's multiple different kinds of formulas. There's Catch-McCardle and there's all kinds of other ones. So that's already quite confusing. Which formulas do you use? Do you use an average of all the formulas out there? How accurate are they? And then it's a case of activity factors. They always ask you, how active are you? Are you very active? Are you not very active? People's opinions are very active or different. How does that match in with weightlifting? How is it matching with cardio? What do you do? And then they ask your body fat. Most people are very, very bad at estimating their body fat percentage. And so most people underestimate their body fat. Somebody who's 20% body fat, who thinks that 20% body fat is more than likely going to be 25 to 30, and then et cetera, et cetera. So the whole thing becomes a bit of a mess, and it just stops people from actually getting to the process of dieting. And really, it prevents them from focusing on the process of dieting. That's the problem. So the first thing to do is understand that the number that these calculators give you is just a guess. The number that anyone can give you is just a guess, all right? But a guess is all you need to get started. So let me tell you what is a simpler way, rather than relying on these inaccurate calculators who just have a whole degree of weirdness attached to them. Rather than relying on that, a really simple way of starting is just to take your body weight in pounds and times that by 15, and that would be your maintenance intake. All right. From your maintenance intake, subtract, I don't know, 500 calories to get started. So your actual number is a moving line in the sand. It doesn't need to be 100% accurate. What you need to do, though, is you need to understand that over the course of the weeks and months, you're going to adjust that number based on what your body weight is doing, and that is more important. People focused on this one sole perfect number just so they can get started are always going to be focused on that number, and they're always going to be second guessing themselves. You've got to understand it's not that perfect number. Your number is a rolling average, so changing number. It's a moving line in the sand, basically. It's a moving target. It's always going to be changing. It's going to go lower and lower, essentially. What's more useful is to be able to adapt to that. So, firstly, understand your number is a guess. Secondly, your actual number is simply just a line in the sand, and it's a moving target. So, a simple way of doing that is just take your current body weight, times it by 15, and that will give you your maintenance intake, and then take away 500 calories from that to get started. So, let me give you an example. Let's say we've got a guy who's 200 pounds, all right, and he's a reasonable body fat. Okay, so he's not like excessively obese. He's just a regular guy. Right? We can start then with saying, okay, 200 times 15 is 3,000. We can be fairly certain his rough average maintenance is about 3,000 calories. It's enough. That calculation we did in a split second, it doesn't waste much time. It's done there. We'll take about 500 calories from that and give us 2,500 calories. That's the number he's going to start dieting on. Now, he'll start dieting on 2,500. That whole process took all of like 2 minutes to do. He's made his mind up. Now he can focus on all the things which are actually important to do with how he's going to structure the diet, what he's going to do, all that kind of stuff, the more important stuff. So he sticks to that number for a couple of weeks, and what he does is every week he'll weigh himself 3 to 7 times during the week, so 3 mornings to every morning, and then he'll take a weekly average. So over the course of a couple of weeks, he's realized that on average, that number has stayed the same between the first weigh-in and the second weigh-in. It stayed the same, just as an example. So that means it stayed the same. So what he needs to do now is lower those calories. Whatever those calories were, 2,500, whatever they were, he's going to lower them from where they were, and he's going to aim for a little bit lower. And he's going to monitor it again for another couple of weeks. All right, let's say he lowers it to 2,300. Happy days. Week 3 and week 4, he sees lots of weight loss. It's done it. Fantastic. So great. He's losing weight. Everything's going great. So end of week 4, he goes, you know what? 2,300 calories, that's my number right now. It's going well. I'll stick to those in weeks 5 and week 6. Now, if he's lucky, weeks 5 and week 6, he'll carry on losing weight. Happy days. All right, we're good. It's working. We didn't need a whole bunch of formulas, the calculators. We are ready to adapt and change, just like we did at the end of week 2. Gets to week 6, you see more fat loss, happy days. Week 7 and 8, he looks at the weekly average again, weighs himself between 3 to 7 times, does a weekly average, compares the weekly average of week 7 to week 8. He realizes, you know what, I've stalled. Let me lower calories further. So he goes down to 2,100 calories. So all the time, he doesn't care about that number, the original 2,500. It makes absolutely zero difference. What he's doing, though, is he's prepared to adjust across the way. And that's far more important than finding some perfect number for some calculator with amazing activity factors and body fat. You don't need any of that kind of stuff. Just get started and be prepared to adjust. Use that simple formula, taking your body weight times by 15. Now, some caveats to that. If you are bordering on, say, a very, very fat body weight, right? Let's say you've got a lot of fat to lose. I would probably tune that number down a little bit for your maintenance. So rather than taking your body weights, let's say you're a 200-pound guy, but you're actually quite fat, rather than times it by 15, maybe times it by 13 to 14, and use that as your maintenance, and then take 500 calories away from that. Now, all that's going to do is just probably get you a little bit quicker to the right calorie level for you. But even if you don't do that, even if you just use the 15 rule, that's fine. It's probably going to be okay. If you're exceptionally obese, like if you're, say, 300 pound, 400 pound, then sure, tune it down a little bit. Maybe just take your body weight by 10. For most people who listen to this content, body weight times 15 and then adjust is a good way forward. Even if you are very obese, just starting at that level is fine, because you're going to adjust anyway in 1 or 2 weeks' time. So it gets you in the rhythm of finding a line in the sand, having your calories set, and then adjusting based on that. My crucial thing that I want to say just to end this is that the actual starting calories make very little difference. All that matters is that you are prepared to monitor, take your body weight as an average from week to week, and then adjust calories downwards based on whether you have a stall or not. And we're looking at a proper stall. If it's stalled on average for a couple of weeks, then that's a stall. So notice how I don't talk about days. Like 1 day up, 1 day down, doesn't matter. We're looking at weekly averages. That's all we're looking at. All right. Hopefully that's helped. Cheers. Oh, and let me know if you've got any questions. I can turn into a video just like this one and drop in the comments. All right, thanks.